Good afternoon, Patreon and Spotify Premium subscribers. This is Kelly for another true crime case for my Patreon members and Spotify Premium. It is Tuesday, 2 days before Thanksgiving. I hope everybody's having a wonderful week. It's very foggy here. It's chilly, but not too bad. I mean, I went out and got the mail, walked out and got the mail in my my hoodie. So, but it's foggy and I think it's supposed to cool down over the rest of the week. But I am drinking Java Mama Caramel Corn Craze. I just finished it. I finished off the bag. This is these were the amusement park collection of Mama's picks in August. And oh my gosh, it is so good. But this is the last of it. I'm working on trying to finish my bags that I'm almost done with. And I haven't gotten any holiday coffees yet, but it's on my list. Jingle Bell Java is always my favorite every year. I love that one. And then they had another one, Frosty's Favorite, but I haven't seen that one come back yet. And that's another good one. So anyway, here we go. This is a story I'd not heard of. It takes place on Thanksgiving. Kimberly Riley, I titled it for the girl, the 19-year-old. My sources are unresolved.me, Reddit, I even went on there, YouTube, the YouTube page 253 Crime Stoppers, and the truecrimediva.com, excuse me. Okay, Kimberly Riley, she grew up in Hawaii. Her parents were Mike and Carol Riley, and she had a brother named James. She graduated from, I don't know how to say this, WAIAKEA high school in 2001. And through high school, she volunteered at a vet clinic and was hoping to become a veterinarian. And I thought that was very interesting. I thought, what a wonderful outlook, future, and living in Hawaii, number one. I've never been there, but I'm just thinking I would have stayed there. That's just what I would have done. But anyway, her freshman year in college was spent in Hawaii, but she wanted to move to the mainland. She attended the University of Washington up by Seattle. Now, her brother James lived up there too, and I don't know if this is why she wanted to go up there, because maybe he was up there and it was just so cool, and I don't know. But I'm guessing that's why she picked Washington. She ended up going into accounting and decided on that as her career path to own her own business. Okay, now I went into accounting at a community college here, and no, I did not want to do it. I went into it and I'm like, I am not doing this, which kind of shocked me that she went from being a veterinarian to that. But her brother, James, lived in that area, like I said, and he worked as an electrician. I didn't get how old James was. I'm thinking he was older than her. So, now he loved working on cars, James did, and he came to know the Britt family. Now, there's a lot of J names in this. Every guy I think that I name off, their name starts with a J. So I had a hard time, figuring out who was who after a while, but the Britt family was Joe and Evangeline of Tacoma, Washington. They lived on a cul-de-sac in the 1000th block of South 75th Street in a nice quiet neighborhood with a few churches and schools. They invited James over for Thanksgiving on November 28th of 2002. He brought Kimberly, since they both had no family members in the area, but then also Kimberly, I found out later from another source that Kimberly was I think it was truecrimediva.com. She was the boyfriend of their nephew, or she was the girlfriend of their nephew. So, the dinner was wonderful. As they cleaned up, the kids and teenagers, including Kim, went downstairs to the family room. Now, this was I've got a photo of the house, but it's like a split foyer home. So it looked to me like a split foyer home. So you got you go either, when you walk in, you either go downstairs or upstairs. And there's, so that the downstairs is kind of half and half, above ground and below ground. So, which I'll have the photo in Patreon and Instagram. And, of course, Facebook, Kelly's Coffee, or True Crime and Java Chat. Sorry, I almost said the old name. So they went down there, and that was the family room. And they were playing pool, watching movies. The Britt's niece and nephew, 20-somethings Harmony and Jeff, were also there. Now, Jeff, their brother and sister, Jeff is the one that was Kimberly's boyfriend. They put in Men in Black 2. That's what the kids wanted to watch. So they watched that. And then around 10 o'clock that night, a 70s or 80s Ford pickup truck with a light-colored canopy pulled up outside the house. And I got a photo. You know how a lot of the pickup trucks, I don't know if they're still like this, but it says the big letters Ford on the tailgate. And that was seen. So that's how they know it's a Ford pickup truck. One or more people, they're not sure, got out and went up to the front door. And then all of a sudden, gunfire blasted into the second window on the right side of the front door. So if you're looking at a split foyer home, it's the second window on the ground. So, reportedly 8 or 9 shots were heard upstairs by Joe Britt. I don't know about Evangeline, but I know Joe was the one who said he heard 8 or 9 shots. Their grandson, 5-year-old Jeremy, was being cradled by Harmony because he wasn't feeling well. 4 people were hit. Harmony, Jeff, Kim, and 5-year-old Jeremy, the grandson. Harmony got shot in her arm, back, and stomach. And then I heard that it was, I think, from the same bullet. I'm not positive, but I read that when it hit her arm, it went through her arm and then hit her stomach. So if your arm's kind of laying over you and you're cradling somebody, like she was cradling the boy, it must have went through her arm, through her stomach, and I don't know if it went out her back or what, or she fell over and got hit in the back too. Okay, Jeff was hit in the foot. And Kimberly Riley, 19, got hit twice in her chest. They were all taken to the hospital where Kimberly Riley died, as well as 5-year-old Jeremy Britt. Harmony had been holding him. Okay, like I said, she'd been holding him. Jeff would be forever with damaged nerves and not being able to walk normally again because it really severed his nerves on his foot when he got hit. Harmony survived and is now a medical or massage therapist. So that's what she's doing now. So she survived. I don't know if she had any permanent damage, but boy, that's something hitting in the stomach and then the back. And then, oh my God, I just can't imagine. She was very, very, very lucky. The investigation came up with no fingerprints, DNA, footprints, or any evidence, just by what the witnesses saw and heard. They questioned neighbors and everyone who was in the house. The police investigators saw that the curtains had been obscured through the window, and the window also had condensation, so the perpetrators wouldn't have been able to see who they were shooting. It was almost like it told the police that it was a random shooting, and it was also very heavily foggy that night, which obscured the witnesses' accounts too of what they saw. So they thought it was a random shooting, but they kept it quiet about the type of gun or guns used, just in case. You know how they do that, how they keep some evidence quiet, just in case somebody ends up shooting their mouth off or knowing something about it. Aside from the pickup truck, one witness said they saw a person run back to the truck after the shooting and then speeding off. Another person said they saw the truck speeding away without their headlights on. And then they turned them on when they got, like, there's like a hill on, if you go to the YouTube that I shared on Facebook, you'll see that there's a hill, like they're on a cul-de-sac, but then when you leave their house, because you can only go one way because it's a cul-de-sac. So when you leave the house and go the one way out, it's a hill. Well, when they got up to the top of the hill is when they turned their headlights on. And someone said they thought that the truck was brown or red under the street lights. Now, when they left the neighborhood, they headed toward I-5, Interstate 5. I don't know that area, but just in case, I don't know. I know it's anybody that's familiar with that area, that's where they headed. Another one said they saw someone running out around the corner of the cul-de-sac after the shots. He had long dark hair and wore a puffy coat, and they thought this person was running toward South 76th Street, which is odd because he must not have been the one with the truck. I don't know who that was. I mean, it could have been someone running away, but they said nobody left the house. There was nobody, leaving the house. But anyway, police also found out that Joe and Evangeline Britt were targeted by a shooter before, on March 3rd of 2000. They were watching TV around 8:20 p.m. and more than 23 shots were fired into the home. Now, nobody got hurt. Ballistic testing on the bullets did not match up with the Thanksgiving night shooting. So they're thinking they weren't connected, but to me, it sounds like they were, because what are the odds of this happening? And then 2 years later, it happens again. That is just odd to me. Theories have been told about it being either a random shooting or the wrong house. The Brits had not known anyone who would do this horrific crime. They were not in trouble. They didn't know anybody that was in trouble. They were just your regular good people. They weren't anybody that would be, into any weird stuff. When I say weird stuff, like I was thinking like mafia and stuff like that, or mob stuff, but they were nothing like that. Oh, sorry, I had to get a drink. My mouth's getting dry there. So it is just such a sad incident here. I mean, I just can't imagine something like this happening. Now, this crime got very little media coverage, and that's another thing that shocks me. Something like this happens right there in a nice town on Thanksgiving night, and there's people getting killed. A little boy gets killed. A young teenage girl gets killed. They have had no leads, and this case is still unsolved. Crime Stoppers offers a reward of $1,000 for information. People on Reddit were complaining it wasn't high enough, but I have no idea how high they want it to be, but it's $1,000. If you have any information, you can make $1,000 if you know anything about this. But anyway, the number is 1-800-222-TIPS, and I'm going to post that in Instagram, Facebook, all that, and in the show notes. The Britts moved out of the house in 2003. Evangeline Britt passed away July of 2021. Joe and the Spencer family still live in Tacoma, Washington. The Riley family are wanting the people caught who was responsible. Kimberly's father is wanting the death penalty. And believe me, I would too, but you know what? That's a far cry anymore on these crimes. But I've not heard of this, and it happened on Thanksgiving, and it's unsolved, and I thought it would be something good to talk about. Matter of fact, I was going to put it on the regular podcast, but which I know Patreon, and I don't have anybody on Spotify Premium right now, but I know my Patreon members pay for this. So I was going to ask if it was okay if I actually posted this on the actual podcast, if I can talk. And I would do that. I wouldn't do that right now. I would just wait and do it like around Thanksgiving. I would probably end up letting this, releasing it probably Wednesday night or Thanksgiving morning. But I was just wanting to let you know, or ask if that was okay with you guys. Just let me know. In the comments is fine, or privately, however you want to do it. But But boy, and it could just be like a bonus for them, and especially since this is an unsolved case. But I wanted to tell you guys about it first because it's one story. I don't know if you've heard about it, but this is just wild to me that there was no evidence. And I know they're keeping it quiet about the guns and the type of guns, and I don't know, like I said, if there was casings. They had to have been bullets they found. I know revolvers don't have casing. The casings don't come out of a revolver if that's what they were using. But I don't think that's what they were using. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying because I have no idea. But I know a revolver only holds so many bullets, and you got to put them in one by one in the caliber. So once it runs out, you got to sit there and put them all back in. You know, when you have a regular like 22 or 38, whatever, you load the magazine and pop the magazine up in the bottom of the gun. And then if you got another magazine already loaded with you, you could just pop out the empty magazine, pop the full one back in, you know. But that's what I'm thinking somebody like this would do. They would carry a gun that, not a revolver, at least. I mean, I'm doing my own thinking here, my own speculation. But anyway, that is the case for today. And I know a lot of you know about what's going on with Morgan Geiser, the Slender Man case stabbing. That was the case that happened where the girl actually survived, which is awesome that she survived the stabbing. And her two quote unquote friends were the ones that led her out into the woods to stab her. This reminds me of Skylar Neese a lot. But these two little girls, and these were young girls, they've been in prison, and they let Morgan Geiser out on house arrest with an ankle bracelet. And I think it was up by Madison, Wisconsin. She ripped off the ankle bracelet, and she had a 42-year-old male. I think it was male. I'm not sure if it said male or female. I thought it was a guy. I'm not sure how old her dad is. Who knows if it was her dad or a family member or what. Got her out, and they were caught, I think, last night, Sunday night, because this is Monday. You got to remember what day it is. Monday the 24th. I got Tuesday on my calendar, but it's Monday the 24th. So I don't know what I said at the beginning of this episode. But they found her in Posen, Illinois, a town I've never heard of, but it's south of Chicago. But it's like, if you want to hide in plain sight, I guess you would choose, you think they would choose something like a bigger town or city. I don't know. I don't know what is a good place to hide because I've never been in trouble. So I don't know if it's a big city or a small town. But why did they let these people out? I don't care if you did it when you were a juvenile or not. If you are still, she couldn't even stand house arrest with an ankle bracelet. I mean, she's been in prison for how long? She can't stand house arrest with an ankle bracelet? That doesn't make sense to me at all. I mean, now she's going to be in more trouble, and she's going to be going back. These girls, if you're this evil at a young age, in my opinion, you're going to be evil as an adult. And that's just my opinion. And I know some people do get rehabilitated as when something like this happens when they're teens. These girls, I think, are quote unquote, I don't want to say crazy, but I think that there's something wrong with them mentally. Now, some girls or boys who do this out of like jealousy, or somebody ropes them into killing somebody for them when they're a teenager, like what was that, Pam Smart? She had that young kid kill her husband, and then he was so crazy about her, and then she'd get mad. So something like that, I don't think they're mentally ill, but these girls are mentally ill. And they shouldn't be out. I'm sorry. If you're going to do this, if you're going to stab your friend at a young age, I mean, this is like The Omen, the kid in The Omen or something. You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, I don't know. It's like they're going to grow up to be killers. They're going to grow up, something's going to happen, and they're going to grow up to be, this is almost like a serial killer in the making to me. And anyway, I'm glad they caught her. I figured they would. It's hard to be on the run nowadays, I think. It's so easy for people to find you, especially when people are on all over the internet, you know. So it's not like years and years ago when they would just post posters up around town and put you on the news, which was something, I mean, that was even hard to hide then. But nowadays it's like, oh my gosh. Anyway, so she's found, I forgot how old she is now. I didn't write it down. But speaking of hiding in plain sight, I don't know if anybody out there watches Dateline. I listen to a Date with Dateline podcast. And the girls on there, that sometimes they get off on tangents, but I like listening to their review of the episode and what they think of the crime. And wow, the one that they just had on Friday night, if you have not seen it, don't listen to the rest of this if you have not seen it, or if you plan on watching, if it's on your DVR or whatever. This one was, it was in Wisconsin, and I just cannot believe I haven't heard of this one, where this couple got killed. And of course, I hate the fact that the dog got killed. And I'm sorry, but I cannot stand that. And all these years, 20-something years or 30 years, it went unsolved because they couldn't figure out who did it. Because the person they thought did it was not a match on their DNA. The one that they finally got for ancestral DNA, they found who it was. It was somebody living in the town, never had a record, never did. Criminal record, none. He was related to the guy they thought it was, and the guy they thought it was, he was not a match. So but this guy was related to him. Anyway, long story short, I do not understand why when you have a trial, you can't let all of the evidence in. They would not let it in the trial to the jury that this other guy that they thought was the killer was not a match. His blood was not a match, a DNA match on the semen that was found on the victim. They would not let that in the court so the jury could hear. But they painted this guy as the killer. Now, this guy is not with us anymore. He died of suicide. So he's not there. He wasn't there. So they got to paint it as, oh, he's the killer. He's this. So they had all of these witnesses come in and talk about him, how terrible he was. He stuck a gun in their face. He was a terrible person. But his blood was not a match. His DNA. So, spoilers here on Dateline. The guy that was up on trial, not guilty. Even though his DNA was on the woman's body, the victim's body. I think they were together. I think it was him and his cousin. And there was also another guy that's in prison now for another crime that told him that he drove him there. But then he said it was a different guy he drove there. I'm thinking they were all there, or at least 2 or 3 of them were there. And that's what happened. But her family, these families of this couple are outraged that a jury could let them out. But you know what? They wouldn't let the evidence in that his blood wasn't a match. And I don't get that. This justice system really gets me. It just makes me so mad. And then this girl getting out for the Slender Man thing. I mean, I know she was young when she did it, but come on, you guys. Why do you got to let her out now on house arrest? I mean, she was on house arrest, but still. I just don't understand this justice system. I really don't. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I understand if you've never done it and there's proof that you never have done it. But if there's proof you did do it, why are you letting them out? Why are you doing this? Why are you anyway? Oh, it just makes me so mad. So, okay, enough of my tangent. Enough of my tangents here going. But I want everybody to have a safe and happy Thanksgiving. Eat until you pop. No, I'm just kidding, because then you're miserable. But I always eat a lot on Thanksgiving. I don't overeat, but for some reason, I'll just put like a regular meal on my plate, and I'm stuffed. So, I don't overeat. And then, of course, I got to have pie. And I got to have wine or coffee, wine, pie. And I just eat a regular meal, and man, I feel stuffed, and then I feel tired, and it's like, oh my gosh. But we're going out of town for Thanksgiving, and I'm so excited because not far out of town. We're still here, around here, but in the state, I mean. But we're going to see some family members, and then come back home and probably just sleep the rest of the night because I'm going to be so full. So everybody have a wonderful, safe, and happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. And I will see you next time.